Hi everyone. Sorry, I was just a couple of minutes late there. I was just trying to get Zoom to load properly. I'm just gonna wait around a couple of minutes to give people a chance to log on and see who's watching. I'm trying to work out if this tells me who's watching, or is there a way to see the comments or not? Let me just see if I can get it up on here. Let's have a look. Okay. Oh, so it says there's 5 people watching. And hello. Right, I'm getting some hellos. Lovely. Excellent. Yeah, as I was saying, Holly, I know you just messaged me. I was running a little bit late. So what I'm going to try and do is go between the 2 screens so I can keep an eye on the comments as well. But I will come back to any comments at the end that I missed. So just keep them going. I might be able to see them on my phone as well, actually. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday. Sorry that this is a Sunday afternoon. I know that's in the middle of family time, but I'm finding at the moment that I just can't get anything done in the week and the evenings. I'm just back and forward with kids clubs all the time, up and down from the stables. I'm finding by the time I've got back from the kids clubs and stables in the evening, it's about 8 o'clock. And then by the time I've got the kids to bed, it's 9 o'clock. And then actually my toddler doesn't go to bed until 10, and my 8-year-old repeatedly gets out of bed until about 10. So basically I'm just not managing to fit in these sort of things in the evening. So I've gone for a Sunday afternoon when my husband's at home and he can watch the children for me, and I can come and speak to you guys. So I'm hoping some of you are going to be able to watch this through. I know, and I appreciate the kids are at home and you might be having to get dinner ready. So, you know, I'm not going to be offended if you disappear partway through or anything like that. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you guys, actually. Holly did her live for my team in the week, and it was just incredible. I never get tired of hearing Holly's story. She just works so hard, and if anyone can make this business work while being busy, Holly is just living proof of what you can achieve with Usborne. It's just incredible to watch. So I don't overly know if I can bring any more to the table than what she already offers you, because she's just an incredible mentor. But I'm going to give it a go and share my journey with you. I'm actually going to share a little bit more with you than my actual Usborne journey, and I haven't ever shared this before, so this is very, very new for me, but I'm going to be brave. So I've been working in a group, a sort of personal development group, and we've been talking about the power of sharing your story, sharing your background, and it's not something I usually share with Usborne. When I do this sort of my Usborne journey, my Usborne story, I start from the point that I've had children, from the point I joined Usborne, really. So a little bit of background information about me. I'm a mum of 4 children. I have an 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 3-year-old. They keep me massively busy. My eldest actually suffers from anxiety as well, so that's a lot of hard work occasionally. This time last year we were having loads and loads of trouble getting him to go to school, and we had sort of a year of counsellors and back and forward appointments. So that's always been quite tricky. But before I became a mum, my life wasn't always that easy, if I'm honest. It's been one of those sort of things, ups and downs. When I was 16, my mum got diagnosed with cancer, and we were told she was going to die in a few months. And at the age of 17 in 2000, in the February even, my mum passed away, which on its own wasn't particularly, well, it was horrible, but I was able to sort of deal with that and come to terms with it. What I didn't ever expect to happen was my dad to completely lose the plot. He just couldn't cope with me. He couldn't cope with being around the rest of his family, any loved ones. And within a year, he decided to sell the house we're both living in, to move out, to move to a different part of the country, and just hasn't had anything to do with anyone ever since. And that broke me a little bit. I just wasn't ever prepared to lose both parents. And in my eyes, he had a choice to leave whereas my mum would have done anything to stay. So I spiraled a little bit out of control. I started taking lots of drugs, hanging around with not the best crowds. I just was living on sofas for a bit. Really, I dropped out of sixth form. I pretty much threw my life down the pan to how it is now and to what happened. So I wasn't in a very, very good place. The result of that was I ended up having lots of panic attacks. I ended up on 2 years of antidepressants, taking diazepam to stop the panic attacks, and having counselling. So eventually I managed to sort of break past all of that and move up to Leamington Spa, where my brother lived, which is where I met my now husband. But that wasn't always plain sailing either. So we got together in sort of 2005. I think it's about 2004, 2005. And we bought a flat in 2005 together. And then found out I was pregnant with my eldest, which completely wasn't planned and wasn't part of what we was expecting. And then in 2007, we had our flat repossessed because we found out we actually now had a child. We couldn't afford anything. We were living off my partner's income. We had zero money. We had far more going out each month than we had coming in. But we just couldn't afford it. Then to make matters worse, we had drug dealers move in the flat below. We went to citizens' advice, and they basically said, stop paying your mortgage. You just need to have to get out of there. So that's what we did. We stopped paying everything. We had to let the place be repossessed, and we had to go back into private rental and just literally start again. And everything, money was incredibly tight. We literally was, some months having to work out whether we could afford to pay gas or whether we could afford to put food on the table. It was not particularly a nice situation to be in, but we were there and we made the best of what we could. So I don't know why I'm telling you this, really, just to give you a background that don't judge what anyone's been through in their past, because it doesn't necessarily mean what it's going to be like with Usborne. And don't judge somebody if they haven't got much money when they start, because actually when I joined Usborne, I had no spare income as well. I had to make my spare income available with Usborne to be able to invest it into more Usborne. So fast forward to now. And I have 4 children, as I mentioned earlier. I'm living with my husband in Leamington Spa, and I do Usborne now full time. It's my only source of income, and that's gone incredibly well for me. So I'm going to now just have a little quick look at the comments just to see if messages pop up here as well. Signal just me, just Holly. Okay, I think that's. Okay, Holly's back. Okay, right. So I joined Usborne just over 4 years ago now. So in September 2014, it was the 29th of September 2014. I don't know why the date stuck in my head, but it has. And I literally went round to my friend's house for coffee. I knew she had Usborne Books out that day, and I knew I wanted to buy the What's Happening to Me book. My son was getting to that age. I think he was going to year 5. Then it might be in year 4. But I thought it was time that we needed to have that book in the house. And I'd heard of the Usborne What's Happening to Me, and I knew that I wanted it. So I went round to her house, really didn't have any other intentions or expectations other than to get that book. Once I got there, I realised there was quite a lot of books that I wanted to order. And I'd also done Forever Living in the past, so I knew how network marketing and these things sort of worked. What I then said was, I've got 70 quid worth of books I want to buy. How much is the starter kit? What's the condition? Could this be a better way for me in doing stuff? Christmas is around the corner. I could always do with extra books for Christmas presents. So it was £38 to join. Neither of us actually knew that it was a bumper pack. So I actually got more books that month because it was a special bumper pack for that month. And I got all my books. I said to her I was not looking for a business. I never ever wanted Usborne to be a business. I'd just shut down a business that I'd attempted to run for the previous 2 years, which was doing okay, but not really doing anywhere near what I needed or wanted, and was just taking up a lot of time. So my box arrived and I didn't open it. I stuck it in the corner and I went on holiday for 4 days. I came back, thought, holy shit, I should probably open this box. Looked inside, loved the books. I thought, you know what, I've only got a £70 order for myself. What I'll do is I'll get some of the school mums round for a coffee morning. They can have a look. I'm sure a couple of people will buy some books, and then that will get me my £100 order, which is what I know it's 120 now. Back then it was 100. So that was my big Usborne plan. That was my only goal, my only thing I was aiming for. But I had those people around for coffee, and I was absolutely amazed that they ordered £287 worth of books. It sort of blew my mind that actually just by having a few people around for cakes, I'd taken that much money. I was a little bit cheeky. So I sold from my stock, from my starter kit, and I sold from my free book allowance. So I actually managed to get that down in just 2 orders. So I had quite a lot of profit then sat in my account, in my hands. I didn't really know anything about the incentives at that point, if I'm honest. I knew about splitting the orders. Someone had mentioned that. So I placed my 2 £100 orders. I then decided that I would take the books, the starter kit, into a school coffee morning on the Friday, because some people hadn't been able to come to my house. And I did another £100 order. So all of a sudden I'd hit my kit boost, which wasn't part of the plan, wasn't anything I was planning on doing. And by this point, Stacey, who I joined under, although I said I didn't want to do it as a business, had added me to a couple of Usborne groups. So I was all of a sudden getting this, oh, congratulations, you've hit your kit boost, you're doing really well. You'll be able to unlock schools soon. And at that point, I hadn't really known what we could offer schools. So to suddenly hear that we could give them 60% free books really, really sort of interest me. I was part of the PTA. I was quite heavily on the PTA back then. I've had to step away from it a bit now that Usborne's got a lot busier for me. 1 second. Sorry. But that really, really interests me. So as we were coming up to Christmas, I thought, okay, what if I just go out and do a few events, do those other free orders, and then I can work with the schools. So that's what I did. I booked into some Christmas stalls. I think someone hosted a party for me, putting in a few Facebook groups. Anyone be willing to host parties for me? And very quickly, I'd hit my kit refund as well. Out of the blue, I then had someone message me in the October, I think it was, and say, oh, I used to work with Usborne Books. I'm looking at rejoining. I've seen you're doing it local. Can I join under you? And I went, okay. I wasn't really planning on having anyone on the team, but you know, that was fine. If she wanted to join, I was happy to have her under me. That wasn't going to be a problem at all. And we sort of went from there. Then I got a message from my mentor saying, oh, have you seen it's the Usborne Gala? It's just down the road in Stratford, which is actually 15 minutes from my house. I was just conceived my 4th child. So I was pregnant at the time, and I just thought, you know what, I'd love a night away in a hotel. As it turned out, I had done enough sales in the November that I got most of my ticket paid for as well. So it actually hadn't really cost me anything to go to this event, which was even better. And we went off on just start of January to the gala. But very bizarrely, actually the same day, I'd had another message from someone else who'd said, I've seen you doing Usborne. I'm thinking about joining. Can you recommend it? Can I join under you? So I'd gone round to her house that morning and signed up for my second recruit, my first recruit of January. So all of a sudden I had a team of 2, which I wasn't planning on having at all. And I get that not everyone's that lucky that you suddenly get 2 people asking to join your team. It's normally the other way around, and you go out heavily trying to recruit. But I think it was that attraction marketing coming there. Everyone saw that I was actually quite happy and just enjoying myself with these books. And I think that sort of came through for the people that they could do it as well. So we went to the gala, and it was this crazy, crazy place. So there's people with bunny ears. There was just women walking around everywhere. Peter Usborne was going to be there, and everyone was really excited about it, which led to probably one of my most embarrassing Usborne moments to date, which was Stacey and I going into a lift, taking the mick a little bit about some of these other people going, oh, Peter Usborne, Peter Usborne, Peter Usborne. Oh, I'm so excited. Straight into the lift to some guy who went, hi, are you here for Usborne? And we went, yes. He said, you don't know who I am, do you? And we went, no. He's like, I'm Peter Usborne, and this is my wife. And we sort of sunk slowly down the lift going, oh my gosh, what have we just done? But he was absolutely lovely. Him and his wife were amazing. And we sat in this conference, and I saw story after story and person after person going up and sharing their Usborne experiences and seeing the love and seeing the passion. And I just came away from the 2 days going, well, why am I not doing this? And what if I decided to give this a go? And I think the message that had come away with me at the gala was, if you want to be making money in this business, if you want to be doing it as a business and not just doing it as a hobby or liking having the books around, then you needed to be a team leader. That was the bottom run for me, absolutely by far. If you're in Usborne to make money and you're in Usborne to have a business, then you need to be a team leader. There's absolutely nothing else. You know, there's no ifs or buts. You need to be a team leader. You get far more commission, you get free postage, you get free event leads, you get free downloads. You need to be a leader and you need to be in gold. And, you know, that's the minimum I will ever allow myself to be at in this business, because that is the minimum to get your money and to get your pay, without a doubt. If you're not a team leader already, put a plan in place to get there. If you can put it in place before the end of next month and get to the travel, absolutely do it. If not, hit January off running and go for it then. Talking of travel, that was the other thing that I took away from the gala. So the biggest thing was that I wanted to be a leader, or that was the minimum bit. So that was I was going to try to get to if I was going to make this work. And the other thing was the travel incentive. Now, I was so peed off with my upline over the travel incentive, because nobody had told me that in order to go for the next travel incentive that you needed to be a leader by the end of the previous year. No one. So in the November, I'd had one active team member and about £900 of sales. So I wasn't really that far off getting another 3 and getting the 1,500. And if I knew about the travel incentive, or knew about, I didn't even know about double promotion bonus. I would have hit my double promotion bonus if I'd promoted that month as well. Nobody had pointed it out to me. No one had said, you know, Sarah, I know you said you're not doing this to business. However, you're quite close to this and you'd get this bonus and you'll be able to do this if you did it. No pressure. No one had mentioned it. Then I sat there watching this video about everyone going to be aiming for Beijing. And I was like, oh, I want to get to Beijing. That's incredible. Woohoo. And then they went, oh, you have to already be a leader. And I was like, you what? It's like, I can't. They're like, oh, you can get a wild card entry. I was like, I don't want a wild card entry. I want to be able to aim for an incentive. I was like, why did nobody tell me that I now can't do this? So it's a massive point I make with my team, is that if you want to go to the travel incentive, you need to be a leader by the end of December. Absolutely, without a doubt, it is worth doing. And absolutely, without a doubt, you can have a promotion in December. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care if it's not as easy as November. I don't care if people are starting to shut off for Christmas. It's absolutely possible. Those first 2 weeks of December, people are buying like mad. You can still get people to join your team and you can still find a way to make it happen. So if you want to do that travel, make it happen for you. So yeah, anyway, that's my rant over. And I've had this rant with Mark and Becky on many occasions, that people need to be made aware, or on January it needs to be opened up for everyone who can promote that month and go forward should be able to go. But that's my rant over. So I came away going, I'm going to aim for team leader. I'm going to go for this. And I went out and I hit Facebook. I had no money to put into adverts. To be fair, Facebook adverts didn't exist. They weren't a thing back then. This is, January 2015. And I just went out, and then people started telling me, oh, January is a difficult month to, promote. It's a hard month. And luckily people didn't really tell me that until there was the end of the month, because it could have really played on my mind. But instead, I just went out. I had no preconceptions. I was just going to go out and do my best. I didn't really care. If it didn't work, then this wasn't going to be for me. If it did work, then this was something I was going to maybe look at doing a bit more of. So I went out and I used Facebook groups. The buy and sell groups, I started local to start with because I thought that would be easier. And we had a kit offer at the time as well, which I think made things a little bit easier as well, because it meant I could go to people, or we've got this kit, it might run out soon, it's at this price, do you want to join now? So I think by the end of the January, I had up to 7 people in my team, which was all right. That's quite good. And we were they were all local and we were having lots of fun. So people were hitting their kit boost, their kit refund. We had a little celebrations evening where we got together and opened some fizz and gave some little prizes to people who hit incentives. We were a close-knit team, which is brilliant. So I promoted on probably about the 25th of that month. And actually I promoted the same month as my mentor. She then promoted same time, so we both by the end of the month had promoted to team leader. Oh, my screen's just gone a funny colour. It's a bit odd. Which was brilliant. So I then had built my team up enough that I got paid team leader in the February. I got paid team leader in the March. But again, without having like a proper upline, no one had pointed out the need to keep recruiting. I wasn't prepared for that drop, that people would join, be really fired up enough to hit their incentives, and then just drop back or disappear. So when it came to April, I qualified in April, which was great. So I promoted in January, I'd qualified all the way through, I'd got into gold for the next season off the back of that promotion, ready to go to my first leadership academy, and then I hit May. And May was the point, everything came crashing down around me, and I just was not prepared for that at all, just not at all. So all these people had sort of stopped working, and I just didn't have the volume. I didn't know how to get it back, what was going on. I was quite heavily pregnant at this point. My daughter was due at the start of July, and I couldn't qualify, and I was gutted. But I was more gutted when I went to Leadership Academy and then saw how amazing that was, and then more gutted than I went on to promote out a team leader in the June. It was actually a massive, massive shock to me that May, because at the start of the month, I remember having a conversation with one of my leaders to be going, are you promoting this month? And she went, absolutely, 100%, I am promoting this month. So in my head, May was sorted, it was covered, because when I say 100% I'm going to do something, it means I'm 100% going to do that, or if I don't, I'm going to be so close to it that, you know, all that volume's going to be there. So I wasn't prepared for the fact that she did pretty much nothing after saying it. And it was a lesson learned to me then that I need to make sure, if I need someone to promote for my own business, I need to have more than one person aiming for it, because you can't rely on anybody other than yourself. You will have some amazing people join your team, some amazing leaders, some amazing organisers who absolutely I can count on now every single month. But when someone first says they're going to do something, it's really hard to know whether they're going to or not. So if you've only got one person in a season aiming for promotion, you need to make sure you have recruiting more and get more. So fast forward that season, I went back to recruiting off the Facebook groups. I promoted out that leader in the July, but that didn't get me gold, bronze or silver, because I'd already not been paid in the May, and I also didn't qualify again in the August after that person promoted out. Again, I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for losing someone's volume and making sure that my team was strong enough underneath. You see, I've made all the mistakes you can make with this business, so I can hopefully pass on to you guys the mistakes not to make. So when someone promotes out, that's absolutely amazing. You never hold that back. You want someone to promote out, but it means you need to pick up your own business as well, so you don't lose their volume. And to be fair, if you're a leader, keep your volume above productivity the whole time, and you won't have a problem if anyone does promote out. So skipping forward, I then got stuck at team leader for 18 months. So from the January of 2015 to the June of 2016, I was in that bubble of scraping to team leader every month. It would come down to witching hour on the last day of every month, and I'd be putting an order in to top up myself, and I'd put this like mental ceiling above my head. That meant that was my aim, and that's what I was trying to qualify to every month. It's like, as long as I've hit that 1,500 or 1,800 it is now, I've ticked my box, I've got there. And I watch so many other leaders now fall into this trap who have, you know, as soon as they've got there in the month, they go, oh, and a sigh of relief. And then they stop, and then they start the next month, and they do the same thing again. They hit the 1,800, they go, yeah, I've done it. If they're lucky, they might promote out a leader in the season as well, but then that leader might drop down again because they've put this mental ceiling across their heads. And it took me ages. I think it probably in the April is when I first managed to smash through that a little bit. So in the April 2016, I promoted out 2 leaders. I didn't get my group leader promotion because they were both new team leaders that month. but I got back into gold for the first time since my first time in gold. So I think I had 2 seasons out and then I was back in gold. I had hit the first part of the travel incentive to Vegas. Oh, I haven't spoken about Vegas. I haven't spoken about January. Sorry, I'm skipping about today. So I hope you're following this, Holly. I really hope this is okay because I feel a little bit like I'm jumping back and forwards. So in the January, at the next gala, I so wish they still had the gala, they announced the travel incentive again. And this time I was a leader and this time I knew I could go for it. And this time it was to Las Vegas, which to me was like the ultimate destination. I've always wanted to go to Vegas. Absolutely loved the idea, seeing what it was all about. My husband, on the other hand, no interest whatsoever, could not think of a worse place to go. So it was never ever somewhere we were going to go together, never going to, save up our money to do this jointly. So when they said it was to Vegas, that massively inspired me. And then I got part way through the month of January and I suddenly realized how much trouble I was in. I had hardly any volume. My plan to recruit just hadn't started working. I was getting people who were saying I'm interested, but they were just not signing. I think I had 4 people in the end join on the last day of the month, which was absolutely hopeless for getting any volume in January. It was great for February, but for January it was awful. So I got to about a week to go, and I remember saying to my mentor, I was like, I can't see how it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. And she said to me, she said, Sarah, she's like, it might not happen. And she's like, you can either give up now, make peace with the fact you're not going to Vegas, or you can keep trying every single day until the end of the month. And if you haven't made it, you've done your absolute best to try and get there and it just wasn't meant to be, or you're going to get over the line. So I went out and threw a few ideas together, and one of the things that I came up with was a PTA pack for schools. So I said for £600, you could have £1,050 worth of books and a free reading library for school. So that massively cut into my commission, but it gave me about £700 worth of volume if I could get someone to order this pack. So again, I hit the buy and sell groups. Again, no Facebook advertising at this point. I just went posting it everywhere I could. And I was very, very lucky that with 3 days to go, a local head picked up that message. She messaged me saying, we've just had a new library put in. We desperately need books. Can I have a brochure? So within half an hour, I'd driven around to her house. I dropped her with a catalogue. She came back to me the next day with her order and her school credit card, and we'd placed that order with all her books with 2 days to go for the month's end. And without it, I would not have qualified and I would not have gone to Vegas. And I probably would not have the business I've had now because I probably would have lost a bit of heart with it as well. So it just goes to show what you can achieve in the last few days of a month when you're willing and determined to go out and do anything. So skipping back, so I've just promoted out in the April my first 2 team leaders. In the June, one of them didn't qualify, so still no group leader. No, sorry, in the May, one of them didn't. And in the June, I finally got my group leader. So that is then very nearly 2 years from when I joined Usborne. It took me to get to group leader. So I wasn't a fast runner in the beginning. It definitely took me time to get my head into this business, to get myself figured out. It was around that time that I first then started experimenting with Facebook advertising and recruiting. And that made a huge difference to me, massive difference. That gave me a way to recruit from home. Again, in June, I was massively pregnant now. I went to Leadership Academy for the first time. Oh no, it's a different year. Ignore me. So this time I'm not massively pregnant. Ignore that. So I found this way to recruit online, using Facebook adverts, using targeted Facebook adverts. And it was very much guessing, but I was willing to try new things and learn new things and try putting different amounts of money. So that made a massive difference, and not just the way that I recruited, but I could pass that information on to my team leaders and they were able to use that for their recruiting. I was able to pass it on to my new organisers and they were able to pass it on to them. So that made a huge difference. In fact, I'm just going to share the screen with you for a second. to this one. So this is, I know Holly has her notebook with all of her stats in. This is how I have mine. So I'm hoping you can all see my Excel document here. Actually, this one's not up to date because I actually had it all stored on my old laptop, which has just died. So this hasn't got 2017 in, but it has got 2016. So as I say, at the start of the year, I recruited 14 new people. No, the team recruited 14 new people. I managed to get 4 in that January. I didn't get any in the February, any in the March. As a team, we did 2 and 6. In the April, 2, and then the May was when we first started the Facebook advertising, and that's when I went up to 8, and the team jumped up to 37. So you can see the difference it makes. You can also see how good January is as a recruiting month. It really, really is a brilliant month for recruiting. So if you are looking to promote, January is amazing. So we jumped up to 37. June was a bit quieter, back down to 17. July we went up to 47, and then things started to go a little bit crazy. And you can also see the difference over here of what my income went as well. So in my commission for the January was, I'm trying to work out whether, no, I think it relates to the month before. So actually that commission I got then was what I earned for the December. So it was 176. For the January, I had 216. For the February, that jumped up to 420. For the March, it went down a little bit. For the March, it went down a little bit. For the April, which is when I had those 2 people promote out, it jumped up to over £500 for the first time. So that's nearly 2 years after I joined. It's the first time I think of getting over 500 quid. Oh no, apart from the silly season. Then it goes crazy. So this is then when my business just went stupid. So for the June, because I had my group leader promotion, all of a sudden I went from having a £300 commission to a £1,125 commission. I felt like I'd run the lottery. It absolutely blew my head that all of a sudden my business was making over £1,000. And then it stayed there. So the next month I made 1,158. Then it jumped up again. So this was for the August, which apparently is a quiet month, some people say. That jumped up, where it doubled, 2,381. Then for the September, it went up even more for 2,946. Then it just went crazy. Then in the August, I promoted to divisional leader, which is why it jumped up to 2,000, because I had a promotion bonus in there as well. So I'd gone from June as a group leader to promoting out a leader in July to promoting out 4 new leaders in the August, and meaning I promoted to divisional leader myself. The recruiting now has jumped up as a team to 79 people in August, and in the September 137. So an absolutely massive difference from at the start of the year. But if you look at my own recruiting, that hasn't gone up hugely at all. So 4 at the start of the year, I was still doing 4, 6, 6, 4, 1. The difference was the team had started recruiting as well. And that's what you're looking for, the duplication of getting your team to do what you do makes a huge, huge difference. So moving on then from the August having the divisional leader promotion, that 2,381. In the October, I then had my executive leader promotion, which came with a lovely £1,000 promotion bonus, meaning my pay for October came in at £6,298.11, which was mind-blowing. It's just crazy. We also did over £100,000 in team sales, 111,000, meaning my November pay came in even higher without the promotion bonus, because it now meant I had an executive leader bonus, which is a different productivity bonus, which used to be if you had £40,000 worth of sales or more. It's now £48,000 worth of sales or more. you get an extra 1% bonus, which doesn't sound much. But when it's 1% of £111,000 worth of sales, that's over £1,110 just for being an executive leader. So if you're not thinking it's worth moving up the ranks, you are completely wrong. Holly, this is for you. You need to be an executive leader, just because that extra 1% makes a huge amount of difference, and you are so close to being it. So it took my year's earnings that year to £23,278. And if we go to the year above, it was £2,783 for the entire year. So I had increased my earnings by 10% pretty much. The year before, by the way, was it's got £6.92. £6.29 was my only commission bonus I had from 2014. So yeah, it grew pretty crazy. 2017, things continue to grow, and I haven't got all the figures here, unfortunately, but surprisingly for me is I never dropped back down from that executive leader status. I've managed to stay there the whole time. 43,000 was the lowest amount we had that year, and the highest amount, I think 2017 is going to be higher, so I can fill in some of this. Actually, we actually hit 151,000. We hit 127,000 in the October. What did we hit in September? It was 90,000 in the August, and we had huge amounts of recruiting in the August. August last year was our highest. Well, until this August, we beat it this August, but it was 260 new team members. I can't at the moment. Sorry, my. Say hello.
Hiya.
Right, okay. Now go ask Daddy to get you a yogurt. Sorry. Toddlers, hey? So I will just bring the screen back to me for a little bit. Okay. Please tell me you were able to see that. Just haven't just been talking to you when you haven't been able to see the figures. Okay. Pooping your pants. Don't poop your pants, Holly. You're going to be absolutely amazing as an executive leader. Absolutely incredible. So yeah, 2017 was a massive learning curve for me. I have to say, I wasn't ever planning on being executive leader. It wasn't a goal. Well, it was a goal. It was something I'd written down, but until like the next year. So I think November this year was actually the year that I put down I was going to aim for executive leader. So it suddenly went from just me as a leader to 6 months later, me with like 40 leaders in my downline. It just exploded. By the end of 2017, 2016, I think I had 14 legs, which I'm pretty much still got now. But some people drop down, some new people promote, some are inherited legs, some are first line, some are new promotions. So it's not everybody's going to stay being a leader, but it will sort of even out. Some will leave, some will stay, and a lot of it comes down to you as well. And that's really hard to take in, because I know some leaders find it really easy to duplicate their business and get their leaders to stick. And I have to say, I've fallen into that category, that I've been really lucky that a lot of my leaders do stick with me and they still do stick at it. And some other leaders in my team seem to have this like circle of promoting people and then they drop down, promoting people and then they drop down. So you do have to look at what you're doing and whether you're doing something to make people stick or whether you're not getting them past that point. So I'm going to share now this year's figures. She says, which are this one. So I've only just started redoing these. In fact, we had last year, we had a crazy goal to hit 1 million, and we fell down at about 26k away from hitting it. We are going to hit it very, very soon. We are now just 14 forward. Actually, no, that's higher. It was 122 something last time I looked. Now I'm really tempted to go and look at Jeannie because I don't know where we are. But yeah, so we're now less than 14,000 away for hitting 1 million for this year, which is just insane to say that I have a book business that will be turning over £1 million of children's books for this year. That doesn't seem right at all. Okay, go back. So this is the person who was living on the streets pretty much at one point, trying to feed her Coke habit, to turning over £1 million of book sales. It's just mental. So again, I haven't got the total recruiting down here at the moment. I know August was 263. Our recruiting, what's been bizarre about this year is our recruiting has been lower than last year on average, but our volume has been higher up until last month. So actually we must have been 147 for the October last year, because we were slightly lower this year. All the other months have been above, and then in October we were very slightly lower, which is a bit bizarre. And I think November we're going to let be slightly lower as well. So I think December might be bigger than usual, but I'm not sure. What is difficult about January is if you don't tap into that recruiting, it does mean the volume can drop. So for instance, this January for me, we dropped back down to 57,000. The December was over 75,000. So that's quite a chunk to go down to. As I say, the November was 151,000. So you're literally almost only doing a third of your business in the January to what you are in the November, because you haven't got that Christmas run up, you haven't got people buying the presents. That doesn't mean you can't get orders. You can get school orders, you can get nursery orders. If you can get people to run events like Ready Steady Reads and Ready Steady Listens over the Christmas holidays, you're absolutely laughing. Having new catalogue parties and new starters. So for me, I always recruit right from Christmas Day going into January and all through January. That's my absolute aim. Because for me, that's where my volume comes from. A new starter will always hit their kit booths, always go and hit their kit. And so they have their family and friends, they have those people around them that they can go out and get round to place orders. So as long as you're getting those recruits in, you will get those orders and you will get your volume. So it's not a month to be scared of, but it is a month to be aware of. So as I say, this year's pretty much it. You can see the figures. We've gone up. Probably what's again is worth noting is my own personal recruiting was pretty standard at the beginning of the year. So 6 people in January. Bizarrely, like Holly when she shared her figures the other day, I also didn't get any recruits in February. Not that I was doing anything different than usual. I just didn't have anyone join. 3 in March, 3 in April, 3 in May, 2 in June. So in fact, my recruiting was probably a little bit lower at the start of this year than it had been in previous years. Then in July, we hit the summer holidays. And I gave myself a bit of a talking to, that I realised I was starting to coast. What I haven't got in here is my pay either. I will share with you my pay in a minute, because I had a very, very high pay the other month. So I gave myself a talking to. I realised I'd fallen into this boat when I was coasting. I was doing a minimal amount to what I needed to do. And actually that wasn't aligned with my goals. So at the start of the year, I said that I wanted to go onto the Ritz. I wanted to be on that leadership board because I'd missed out on that the year before. The year before that, I'd won top recruiter. And then the year after, I just wasn't on those boards. I was on them, but I wasn't anywhere near the top. So I decided I'd wanted to go to the Ritz, but I really had not focused on it and I'd let that slip. So by May, I'd fallen off all the leadership boards. I wasn't in top recruiter. I wasn't in top new leader. I'm never going to be a top personal seller. I don't have the time to sell huge amounts every month. You can see here, my personal volume is very nearly always 240, 200, 300. The most it's been is 499 this year. Because I just don't have much time for personal selling. But what I decided to do was up my recruiting. And for me, in July, that meant investing more in Facebook advertising, because that's how it works for me. That fits in with my lifestyle. And I say to people all the time, it's like, with Usborne, you have to invest something. That can be time. So when I was time rich and money poor, all my time was posting in groups, building up attraction marketing, having conversations with people, building relationships with people, talking to people I already know who I thought might be interested. I'm really just going out and getting the message out there in as many free ways as I possibly could. I'm now in the opposite bracket where I'm money rich and time poor. So I don't have time to be posting on lots of Facebook groups, to be building a long-lasting relationship with people. For me, it's about putting money in it and trying to get people onto my team when I need it. So I revisited an old advert in July. I went with a higher budget. What I tend to do is stick a lot of money on for a Sunday evening and then pause it when I go to bed, and then just leave it paused until I'm ready to have those conversations again. I revisited the wording. I set up saved replies within my Facebook advertising, in my Facebook page, so I can now have saved. I'll show you them in a minute. Actually, I'll share the screen and show you my saved replies. So that's made my life so much easier. And I spent 900 quid in July, but it meant my income massively went up by way over £1,000 for the next month because of the difference it made to my business. So if you look in June, we did just hit productivity with £3,170. By adding in 17 people, by the July, we hit 5,300. And then because I spoke to so many people in July, I then recruited 23 people personally in the August, which is by far my biggest to date. Absolutely, like by millions. Sue did challenge me to get to 24 because that was her highest, and I just missed it by one. Next year I'm going to do that. But that took me up to 11,900, then to 14,300 in September. And then because I've started to slow my recruiting back down again, it's now dropping. So since that £900 in July, I've probably only put in 100 or two to keep it topping up, and it started to fall back. Also, the kids went back to school. So for July and August, I had far more time not having to do all the kids' school runs, not having to do all the club ones. When we sit on holiday, I'd much prefer to sit in a sun lounger and do a little bit of Facebook recruiting rather than reading a book sometimes. So for me, that's my best time for recruiting. Lots of people say August and July, when the summer holidays, are really bad times. In my team, they're our biggest months and the run up to getting ready for Christmas. Because I'm at home, I can do more lives. We set up trainings that run all through the summer. And people are happy because the sun's out and they're happy to buy as well. It's a really fantastic time of the year in my eyes. So that's, to me, why mine jumped up so much then. September again was still a repercussion from those conversations back in July. And now it's started to die down a little bit because my time is back focused on school and everything else. There are still people joining. I'm still having quite a lot of conversations. And if I managed to get a day or two where I could put more time into it, I could up that number. What it's meant, though, is I've recruited now 82 people this year, personally, me. That's made the difference for me dropping off those leadership boards to now being in second place for both top recruiter and top new leader. Just underneath Zoe, who works out in Europe, and he's just a machine, and I don't think anyone's going to come anywhere near to the level she's producing. It just goes to show that the money you make is absolutely off your supporting team leaders, promoting out leaders, but your personal recruiting and you running your personal business is your backbone to keeping your business on track and keeping you growing. So once you promote to team leader, you always have to keep that recruiting going. So I'm just going to put you back to me. So that's really an overview of my business facts and figures side of it. And it boils down massively to that recruiting. Without a doubt, recruiting and getting to team leader is the place you need to be. And I don't care what your home situation's like. You know, everyone's got a different journey and everyone is going through shit themselves. Everybody has stuff going on in their lives. You know, I got hit with anxiety again last September and I just couldn't I couldn't really do anything. I was feeling dizzy the entire time. Couldn't concentrate. I was tired. I couldn't sleep. It was a nightmare, but I still did bits of Usborne when I could. I forced myself to do bits when I wasn't feeling very well, because this is my vehicle to my success. This is what I do now, and I love it. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I get to work with people like you guys all the time, and I get paid for it. I don't just get paid a little bit. It's not like I'm doing hard work. My income check for last month was 9,500 and something pounds. That is how much my yearly income was in my first office junior job. 9,500 grand for the year. I've just earned that in 1 month because I get to work with Usborne every day. That might be 10 minutes a day. That might be an hour a day. I probably don't do more than 10 to 15 hours a week on Usborne. If I have an event, that will take up more, but I very rarely go out to events now. I do Facebook parties. I do my recruiting online. And I can do that from my phone wherever I go. So say my recruiting used to be, it's always pretty much been on Facebook, but it used to be in free methods of groups, networking, getting to know people, messaging people, attraction marketing. I still do have attraction marketing. That's just how my page sort of works, but it's not so much of a conscious, or I'm going to post this, it's an attraction marketing thing. I just sort of show my life as an Usborne organizer. So I will show you now my page. I'll share the screen a second. Let's see if I go down to here. So my page is how I do all my recruiting. And I'm very, very lucky now that I've got to the point that my page has enough likers, because I've been running quite a few competitions recently that's massively grown my likers. So I've got 6,403 likers. I have my story saved as a pinned post. That's been really powerful. The amount of people who've told me they've joined after they've come back and read this has been huge. So I highly recommend having something on here. So it talks about what I shared with you, really, that I didn't really have an intention of running a business. I joined just to get the starter kit because it was cheap, went on holiday, blah, 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 held a coffee morning. And then a bit more about, I think I was group leader when I first wrote that, and the journey up to that point. I've edited it a bit now. So that is always there. I've got to think about an advent. There's some videos on there. I have a group attached to it as well. What I'm going to try and show you is if it's going to let me scroll that far. Sorry, if it runs a little bit slowly when Zoom's running in the background. I've got a Black Friday event on at the moment, so I've been posting about that. I shared that we were just 35,000 away from the 1 million. So that was a few days ago. That's not my advent. Post about my daughter reading books. Very sorry, I'm not just scrolling for the sake of it. There's a post that I want to show you in a second. So this is it. So I'm now at the point that I can put out a working from home post, looking for people to work from home, and not have to boost it. So I had 8 comments, 8 people asked for information about it. In fact, I don't think I've even responded for 2 of those. They've been fairly new that I haven't seen them yet. But in fact, 3 of those people are still waiting for information. That just shows you don't have to be brilliant at this business to keep always keeping in touch with someone. I'm clearly not. But it just shows when you've built up your page. It's taken me 4 years to get a page with that many likes, of constant posting, of things that don't get any comments of, things that go right over. So it's just about, putting stuff out there. You can schedule your posts. If you're only free on a Sunday and you want to get them scheduled, make sure you get stuff out there. But it's a massively powerful tool to do your recruiting from. So the other thing I was going to show you was the saved replies. So this now has saved me so many times. So when it went to last July, well, July just gone, when I recruited 17 people and then 23 people in the August, this is how I did it, because I didn't have time to go back to you. I've also got a bot, it's called a ManyChat bot at the moment, which is picking up some messages from a competition. So I'll just go into this one and see what this person, can I recommend any human body books? Yes, I can. I'll reveal that in a minute. So just see if there's anyone asking for information. Okay, so I'm currently on maternity leave, want something to do, also have lots of my friends with young children who would love books. It's not going to work out that great for my saved replies, actually. So I have under here, second message. Now I put, so I have a first message, second message, and third message, and they get a little bit more detail with each time. So again, you don't have to be completely like on the ball getting back to people exactly. If you can get back to them quicker, that's great, but you don't worry about it. But having these saved replies will make your life so much quicker. So my second message gives an overview of how we sell and where we sell. My first message is just a thank you for requesting information. I work alongside Usborne Books. Have you heard of them? Well, clearly, because she's already said she does, I don't need to post that bit. I will probably go into the second message and add something else into it. And then I have a third message, which is all about how much it costs, how to join, the links, the link to my group, and talking about the support involved. So these are really, really, really important. I can share this wording with you if you want as well, if you want to have a look and adapt it. But it just saves me so much time in getting back to people, and I don't have much time, not at all. So it's been a massive help for me. And yes, if someone said, oh, my little boy loves reading, I will add in a line and says, oh, it's so lovely, your little boy loves reading, my children love reading too. It's great having loads of free books around for them. And then it goes into whatever the saved reply is. So try and make it relatable, but it's saving these replies will save you so much time. It's just unbelievable. I have a follow-up one I saved as well. So I have one with a video. If you haven't made a video of the starter kit, absolutely recommend doing that. That has been brilliant for me recruiting. That's something else I did back in July. I started using that in my recruiting. So that's really me and my story. So let me just come back to me again. So I think that's probably everything covered. If I could give you any advice, it really is get to team leader. Absolutely get to team leader. Don't be scared of recruiting. Don't be scared of not knowing the answers. I hadn't got a clue what I was doing with this business. I've muddled my way through. I still don't have a clue what I'm doing with this business in many, many ways. You just muddle your way through. You learn together with your team. Actually, that's so much more fun when you're all in the same boat and you're all going with your leaders. Actually, I don't know what this means, or I don't know what to do this. Let's figure it out together. Or I don't know how to handle this. How should we handle this? You know, you do not have to be an expert. You learn all that as you go along. So do not put fear in the way of stopping you promoting. It's just not worth it. Do not make excuses. Do not use excuses of time. Do not use excuses of sick children. Do not use excuses of not having enough money. You find out if you want it, if your belief it's going to happen and your determination is bigger than any obstacle, you're going to absolutely fly and you're going to absolutely make it. Any questions at all? I'm going to go back to the comments and see if any of you have left any comments. But do ask any questions. Actually, it might be better for me to get the comments up on my phone. So sorry if I'm not looking at you for a second. It's just why I try and get the comments up. Let's see. I would love to advertise, but it's scary and the expense. Surely there's so many augurs. We have the thing is, yes, lots of people are out there advertising, but it's making it unique to you. Don't go out and just spend loads of money. Try finding an audience that relates to you. So when I'm recruiting, I'm looking for women who are 29, I think, to 43, because I'm 36, so I'm bang in the middle of that. So I'm looking to people who are the same sort of age to me. I'm looking for people with children around the same sort of age to me, who will shop in the same type of places as me, because I want to work with people who are like me, because then I understand how they tick and I understand how they work. So be really specific when you're doing an audience and recruiting, and try and think about who you're trying to reach. Really, really, really important that you do that. And start with just a little bit of money, and then if it works, if you're getting comments, then you can put more budget on it, and then you can pause it whenever you're not around. Friday to Sunday, absolutely the best time for recruiting in my eyes. So yeah, so give it a try, or set yourself a challenge. What I would do is, I couldn't afford to recruit unless I sold some books. So go out and sell £100 worth of your stock, and then put that £100 back into your recruitment. What I'm telling all my team leaders to do at the moment is take a percentage, or if they can, all of their budget for their commission they get for November, and put aside as much as they can to use their recruiting for January, because January as a leader can be a more difficult month. So if you don't have the money now, just earn it. It's money you didn't have in the first place, so put it back into your business. What you get back out of it would be far better. Or if you don't want to risk it, go and just post in groups and find other ways to recruit. Everyone would be find an excuse not to be consistent. Yeah, in fact, I did a video yesterday morning about how your business is like pushing a boulder up a hill. I'll share that video link with you in a minute, because actually I think that sums up that pushing through perfectly. 2 members with terminal cancer, mum and mental illness. Oh, Billy Joe, what a 2 children, wedding plans, so much happening, but Usborne is my me time and I love growing. Yeah, Usborne's my me time as well, if I'm honest. It's my break away from other stuff. Thanks, Sarah, that would be great. I don't know what that was for. I don't use my kids' excuse, but I've got a disabled daughter, so it's sometimes really hard to reply, etc. You reply in your own time, sweetheart. As long as you do reply, that's okay. Nobody is expecting you to be there 24/7. No one's expecting you not to have other things going on in your life. But when your daughter's asleep, or when you've got a break, or when something else is going on, take your opportunities and make that your time to work. So I can't see any more comments on there. Are there any questions at all? We'll just money cleaning. So I can't see anything at the moment. I will keep checking back if any questions come in, or if you tag me in any questions you have. As I say, I appreciate I've been waffling now for over an hour on a Sunday afternoon when you are with your families. So I appreciate that that's a difficult thing for you to come and watch live, but it's when it fits in for me. And as I've just said to you, as long as you do the work, it doesn't matter when it is, as long as it fits into you. But the thing is, you have to do the work. So, you know, you have to go out there and you have to do it. I love talking to you guys like this, but that doesn't mean to say that there wasn't part of me going, oh, I'm going to have to find time on a Sunday afternoon to try and fit in and take me away from the kids. But it is so, so worth it. And I know that I will get a buzz out of coming here and talking to you, because it's my passion. Usborne's my passion. And actually, when I look back and reflect over how it's grown and the things I've achieved, it does give me a buzz and it gives me a lift. And I hope it helps you in some way as well. But selfishly, it also helps me a bit. So, you know, I do get something out of doing this as well. So I'm going to leave it there now. As I say, I will pick up any questions. Oh, hold on. What did Holly? Holly just said something which I can't see now. Lots of the team, I catch up and add questions after. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to say goodbye because I will just keep rambling on. Any questions, give me a shout. It's been lovely to talk to you, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.